Hey everyone, how's it going? So, I don't have a ton of battery life on my phone, but I thought I'm gonna go live. So, what we're doing tonight, or what we have been doing, is we've been checking out the front end parts on this car. As you know, last 2 weeks, I've been working actually on the cooling system, which, on a side note, we put a new water pump in there, a new thermostat in there, and new coolant, which actually it was due for a service of coolant. Um, People say that these head gaskets go bad. That was kind of the model years 2000 and before. But this one here, you want to change the coolant on it because it actually takes gold Dexcool. Got a jug of it here. Look at my little peanut. Anyways, it takes Jet Cool or Dexcool, and the reason it does is because it's anti acidity or whatever. So by letting it be in there for too long, the acidity eats at the head bolt and it pops that head. So it needed that anyways. But regardless, we got that all taken care of, which I really didn't expect to do. But now we can get back to the meat, which is front end parts. So ever since I bought this thing, it's had a shimmy and a shake to it. And I knew that it needed front end parts. So I just heard her. She's talking. Needed front end parts. And now I'm finally getting around to diagnosing and getting it figured out. So, driver's side here, we had a weird symptom. The car felt like it was kind of up and down when you drive real slow. When you're driving on the highway, it would have a kind of a fast thump to it. So immediately, I'm like, this tire is out of round. Which it is, I verified that. I spun the tire and it is, it's out of round. So I need a new tire on here. Secondly, I heard a little bit of wheel bearing noise. Guys hear that? So it needs a new wheel bearing on this side. And then when I was in there, I'm gonna get a tie rod end, but this side's tie rod end isn't actually bad. But if we peek in here, the sway bar bushing is pretty worn out. And the end link is a little bit cracked for the rubber. So we're going to get the sway bar bushings, the end links. This side needs a bearing. And we should be good. The lower ball joints seem good. The play that's in the wheel, left to right and up and down, is simply the same. So the bearing is bad. I had the wheel off and I cranked on it, and yeah, the bearing's bad. But yeah, so we need a new couple tires or one tire or whatever. I had to talk to Sam about it to see if we want to just try two or do all four or what the case may be. But that was our thumping weird noise. Now the other side, which I thought was going to be totally fine. I thought the other side didn't have anything wrong with it. It surprised me, actually. I'll show you why. So this side, the tie rod end is garbage, which really surprised me because I didn't think anything was wrong on this side. So it needs a tie rod end. It's just real sloppy outer. And then I'm also going to do the sway bar bushing and end link. But the top to bottom on it is good, so the ball joint is good. So we should be fine there for now. But those seem to be the only parts that someone just asked. David asked how many parts to replace before it's considered a new car. So that's the parts that I'm going to get. And I really don't need the sway bar end links. And I only really need one tie rod end. But I'm going to be in there. I would do a full refresh, but I'm kind of on the edge of like just enough, but a little more. I would do more if that tire was not around, but that a set of tires is going to cost me. So now I kind of got to play it easy, if you will. Now, I've been given flack in the past because people think that this is just the biggest waste. You know, why on earth do you have two vehicles and it's so expensive? You're always putting stuff into it. So I kind of broke it down in my head. This car, once we get a wheel on it and the parts, total cost, I mean, I put brakes on this car, a new belt on this car, new spark plugs, valve cover gasket, water pump, thermostat, all these new front end parts, plus a tire or two, I'm gonna be at it for about $1,200. Oh yeah, and some new bulbs in the front too. $1,200. The red car, I put it needed a battery, an alternator. I bought it for $500. Both of these $500. Battery and alternator, and some other miscellaneous stuff. So I'm in that car probably $1,000. This car I'll be in for we'll just say $1,200 because I don't know what that wheel's gonna cost yet. But that's like a $200 wheel for a set, I'm sure, because they're not super expensive. And I might be able to find one locally that's used at a auto part wrecking place of similar tread life. I might do that for now. Regardless, what is the math on that? That's $1,000 and $1,200, so $2,200. And I've had the red car and this car. For the red car, I've had longer, but in total months, 10 months for the two cars. This one I've only had for maybe 6 or 8 months. No, I actually got it rated once Rose was born, so 5 months. And then that other car I had longer. But, you know, my truck was $425 a month. So that would be $4,250, right? And I just told you guys, between these two cars, I'm at $2,200. Even if it wasn't right, maybe it was 8 months or whatever, I would still be $1,000 or more savings by having these two vehicles. And that doesn't include the savings of gas mileage, because I get about double the gas mileage, and the really cheap insurance for both these cars, because I just have liability on both, and it's like $40 or $50 a piece, which is still cheaper than what the truck was, because the truck was full coverage, and that was like $120 or $140 a month. So the savings is tremendous when you really think about it. Yeah, you have to kind of work on it and whatever, but I've been driving the red car pretty consistently, and now I just kind of got back into driving this car because I knew that it needed a valve cover gasket, and so I wanted to do that because I don't want it to start on fire. So now that I got that done, I'm like, all right, now we can get to where we need to be, which is with the tires and the suspension components. So that kind of is the gist of what we have going on here. The reason why I like this car over the red car is it can hold Rose in the back of it. It has less mileage at 107,000 miles, which once again, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a car with 107,000 miles for that $1,200, even the $1,500 range that was fully loaded and had all these new parts, you know, a new battery last fall, stuff like that. And I know the history. My grandparents bought it in 2005. And this is my grandma's car. My grandpa always drives the truck. So it's relatively clean on the inside, other than my mucky footprints. And it runs really well. So I've been happy with it. And hopefully now, if I get some front end parts and she drives straight, I can have 6 months, maybe a year of pretty much trouble-free service. I'd be really happy with that. I really would, because you guys already know that the savings would be fantastic. Oh, new window wiper blades on here too. That was part of the initial cost with the brakes and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like my reasoning and what I have going on with this car now. So I'm going to order up those parts. It'll probably be $120 worth of parts. The bearing's like $68. The other stuff is pretty cheap, but yeah, it'll be definitely under $150 for the parts. The tires are going to be the stupid expensive part, but I think I'll try to get a real cheapie to put on here. And then maybe in the future, I don't want to put 4 new tires on it because I just don't know. You know, once I put these on there, what will it be? I don't know. If I can drive it for a few months and it's good service, heck, I'll put another four tires on here, but got to play that game, right? It is, after all, just a real cheap beater car, even if it is a Cadillac. And one thing I will say is camping, right? Camping out of the red car, that's not going to work. But let me show you this. So this is our like large cooler, if you will. It's 168 can cooler, and I'm pretty sure I could stuff it up in that opening. So I really like the size of the trunk of this car. I can really fill it full of fishing gear. I bet I could get my auger side by side in there and house. But other than that, I can put a hitch on this car too. The red car was rated for 1,000 pounds. This thing's rated for 2,000 pounds. And it actually weighs 4,000 and something pounds and would be a better tow vehicle than even this thing would be, because it has a heavy duty trans, airbags that would self-adjust for pressure and everything like that, and would actually work pretty well. But yeah, it won't be brand new, but it should be good. I really do have issues with vehicles, especially in this whole beater world. I need it to be right. It sucks because it seems like something's always going wrong, but I really just don't like to deal with garbage. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is the steering wheel that shakes, or any shake and shimmy. I can handle it a little bit. I can handle it if it pulls a little bit, but when it's bad like this one, I just can't. It just drives me up the wall, to the point where I feel like other people are like watching me. But yeah. So driving this, I don't feel like I'm in a tin can that I'm going to die in if I get T-boned. I feel like I'll actually maybe live. That makes me happy too. So, all right, guys, enough of me babbling on. Thanks for watching. That's what we got going on. And I'll talk to you later.